All right, everybody, let's talk about twins. So, all kinds of twins, right? I'm going to show you two diagrams here. If I can get this to work. Come on. Two diagrams. Here you go. Here's the top diagram. Here's the bottom. Oops. Here's the top diagram. Here's the bottom diagram here. Which one of them is showing how identical twins form, and which one is showing how non-identical twins, also called fraternal twins, are formed? So pause the video, take a look, reason it out. All right, figured out? Well, let's label a few things here. Obviously, you recognize these as sperm cells, egg cells. Remember, the size proportion's totally off. The sperm cells are a lot smaller in comparison. And fertilized eggs from these two diagrams, and then you end up with your zygotes, comma, embryos, and then when they grow up a little bit bigger, call them babies. So if you figured this out, you did a good job. The first diagram is showing how non-identical twins are formed, and the next diagram is showing how identical twins are formed. Basically, if you have non-identical twins, it basically means that although you're born at the same time, you are pretty much just like two brothers or two sisters, or a brother and a sister, except that you're born at the same time. You don't have any more genetic information in common than with any other brother or sister. So how does that happen? Well, in order for that to happen, well, you have to have two different sperm cells and two different egg cells, each with a unique combination of DNA or genes. And basically each one gets fertilized, and you have two fertilized eggs developing in the womb at the same time. So that's not very special. It's just the only question that maybe would come up is, well, why are there two egg cells in there at the same time if during the menstrual cycle only one egg cell is only supposed to be released at a time? But there are exceptions, and some modern fertility treatments are affecting this as well too. Why would you have more than one sperm cell? Well, anytime there's a man experiences an ejaculation where he releases those sperm cells, and the mother and father are trying to make a baby, there are 500 million sperm cells that are going to be there. So there's always an abundance of sperm cells, but under normal circumstances, there should only be one egg cell that's there. For identical twins, well, you have one sperm cell. This is how it usually is supposed to work. Lots of sperm cells, but one of them succeeds in fertilizing the egg right here. And then it combines, you have a fertilized egg. And then basically, you should have figured this out before, I think, from some of the previous videos we saw. When this egg starts to grow, it's just one cell, one teeny tiny little cell, but that cell is going to divide and turn into two identical cells, and then it's going to divide and turn into 1, 2, 3, 4 identical cells, and this process is going to keep on continuing until it becomes a ball of cells. Okay, there's all kinds of names for this. This ball of cells should turn into one embryo and one baby, and that would be the normal circumstance. However, sometimes what can happen is this ball of cells can split for various reasons. You can try to find out some of those reasons. It can split into two balls of cells, and then the body starts to think that these are two separate fertilized eggs, even though they actually originate from the same ball of cells, which came from the very first same fertilized egg. So actually, this would end up becoming two embryos or two babies who are identical. Well, they're identical because they have the exact same DNA, because they all originated from the same cell with the same genetic information, made up from a combination of the 23 chromosomes in the sperm cell and the 23 chromosomes in the egg cell. That's basically how you get identical twins. Now, for this to split off into 3 chunks, that's when you get triplets made up but identical triplets. That's actually very, very rare. Most of the time, if you get triplets or quadruplets, can you count up further? Most of the time, this is usually a combination of quadruplets. Most of the time, this is a combination of, for example, in the quadruplets, you might have a pair of identical twins and then 2 non-identical twins. So that's why you can have quadruplets that are made up of boys and girls. They can't be identical if you have boys and girls, right? If they're identical, they would all be boys or all be girls. They would all look the same as well too. So that's basically how it works. Let me clear the screen really quick of these notes. And this is just to recap. This is pretty easy. You should understand this. Half the material from the mother, half the material from the father, 23 plus 23. They join together. It's called fertilization. And the new nucleus contains the right amount of inherited material to enable the cell to grow into a baby. Once the fertilized egg, I'll give you a word here. It's called a zygote. All right. This is going to go and turn into a few other stages, but you're going to see that in subsequent videos. Go ahead and let me know if you have any questions. Post them, you know where, and see you next time. Bye-bye.